Hey guys, got the Nacet blade. Today's going to be the 7th use, it looks like. Going to put it in this ball end Gillette Tech. And this is a post-war version. You can tell because it has the A date code, which means 1955. And it's located right there. Then on the opposite side over here, there's a 1. So that means the first quarter of 1955. Also, you can tell it's a post-war because you have the oval slots. Now, the last time I used this guy, I believe I made a note that it was just really smooth. It's been too long since I've used it. I've been talking about this razor with a guy online, and I just wanted to shave with it again to remind me about it. I've got my Declaration B5 brush with the Rubberset aluminum handle, a vintage handle, and the soap we're going to be using today is Diamond from Barrister and Mann. Now, this one is the Excelsior base, his newest base that has come out lately, and it's a nice base. I was reading about it. He's got this great Will Kyrus, I assume is how you pronounce his last name, put up a blog post about the Excelsior base where he announced it, told you about the development, and then he took the ingredient list and he put each element item by item, describing to you how and why that element is in there and what it does. I mean, how awesome is that? So I haven't used this guy. He said that he wanted to take the glissant base, which was so popular, and make it more hard water tolerant. He tried to do that with the Barrister's Reserve line, the short-lived Black Label line, and the Reserve was such that people kind of had a hard time lathering with it sometimes. A little tricky. And so he came out with the Excelsior. And he said it's a little harder than the glissant. It means it's going to last longer as well. I have used the Excelsior, I think, in something else. I can't remember which one exactly it is. I love the scent on Diamond. I don't quite like the aftershave. Some of the notes, some of the favorite notes that I like in this don't really show up as much in the aftershave. But I love the soap, so I'm looking forward to my first use of Diamond. All right. Today, I'm going to be accomplishing 2 goals. So this is the ball end Gillette Tech, pretty easily obtainable on eBay. Many times you can get a little lot of about 4 different razors, Nacet, on eBay for like 20 bucks or something like that. It's a great way to expand your collection. Just look at them and make sure they look somewhat clean. Even many of them that don't look clean. And as you can see, I have put the blade in there. Here's the edge, and the end tabs stick out just a little bit. This has the polish in certain areas to show you the Gillette logo. Get my face wet. Anyway, I was saying something, but I can't remember what it is. No big deal. All right. So, the goals of today's shave. I was talking to the guy online about the Tech. He's thinking of a couple different razors to get, and I just want to refresh myself how the Tech feels so I can give him more accurate advice, at least in terms of my own perspective. The second reason for this shave is I have been doing face lathers with the Prix de Provence 63. It's a scent that I dearly love, but the performance has been lacking, especially in the face lathers. I took this very brush and got it really wet, tried to Marco with a wet brush the Prix de Provence. It had been soaking for a little while. It still didn't do very well, even though I mixed on it, mixed on it, mixed on it. Well, we're going to go with more of a normal top tier soap, a top tier brush, and just see if we can get maybe a little bit better face lather. Couple shakes, definitely not getting rid of as much water as I usually do. And we're going to do a face lather today. So let's do a 40-second load, starting at the 30 mark. We'll do a 40-second load just for grins. Moderate pressure, not a lot. You do use up more soap when you are face lathering than when you're bowl lathering, because when you're bowl lathering you spread it out over the course of the whole shave. All the passes, they're even. But when you're face lathering, that first one is the richest, and then they kind of thin down after that. All right, well, there is Excelsior 40-second load. Let's just see how that works out. I do have hard water here. Don't want to get that on now. Starting out on the, we're not having a lot of soap. Now this is a new puck. Let's just do another 10 seconds of loading. So this will be a total of 50. There we go. It's a new puck, and so sometimes new ones, for the first couple of loads, you might need to load heavier. Don't know if that's the case with Excelsior. Now we do have drips flying everywhere, and I find that kind of annoying, but some people don't mind a messy shave experience. Now the good news is that with face lathering, you are going to be working the brush on your face a lot. And the good news with a soft brush and a nice premium brush like this is it's going to feel pretty good and comfy. This is a whole lot of work, and it's kind of slow going. I might enjoy face lathering more if I had empty chin, but I've got to maneuver around this goatee. Starting to thicken up a little bit, so that's good. Well, again, I love the scent. Man, yeah, it's just flying everywhere. Bowl lathering, at least generally for me, definitely seems to be a neater endeavor. Now with face lathering, you do have to watch out with your water. You can be kind of rubbing dry soap on your face if you're not careful. I'll just kind of put this under the water when I need I need to get this lather going right. I'd much rather do this in the bowl, but you know what? I'm just trying out something different. So basically what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the lather to really start getting created here. This is, I mean, it feels good on your face and stuff, but it's really not all that, you know, kind of luxurious. And then I just so hate that here you work to get this lather built up and it just flies off. What a waste of effort. Well, Feels pretty good on my face. The brush is making it feel good. It's a little slick. It's not super luxurious. It's not, you know, creamy or viscous or anything like that. Here, we can dribble a little bit of water on the brush and see if that wakes it up some more. Or does it just make it more drippy and more messy? Let's just see what happens. There we go. So see, it looks like for me, one of the better ways to build up the lather is this painting back and forth. I guess it's giving the brush more of a flex to it, you know. But just these circles on my cheeks, see, that bothers me so much. The circles on the cheeks doesn't seem to really build all that much lather. This stroke here looks like, and I've definitely seen guys go from their cheek up to their chin, back and forth like that. Obviously, I can't do that. Okay, well, that's probably a pretty good lather here. It might even need a little bit more water, but I hate this mess. Well, you know, each to his own, right? Not everybody has to like face lathering. Not everybody has to like bowl lathering. Figure out what you like, enjoy it. Very cold water, some snow outside this morning. So let's see how this tech feels. My friend I've been talking to was thinking about, he's saying he has a lot of trouble with getting a good shave. I think he mentioned specifically on his neck that he has very sensitive skin and gives himself cuts and irritation. He has managed to practice and work and get a pretty good shave with a post-shave, I think he said post-war tech. And I can understand why. They're popular razors. They've been, for decades, they've been out there being used by all kinds of face types and hair types, things like that. It's a great razor. Rinse now. And so I can see why he is able to get a good shave with a tech. He tried the Feather ASD2, and I've featured that one on my channel. Recently sold it. It was just a little too mild for me, and he said it cut him up. Well, you know, all faces are different. Now, he could have some problems maybe laying down a little bit too much pressure, something like that. You know, that could be something, but, you know, skin's just different, and so maybe his beard is just like that. His, you know, hairs and try to add water to your brush and your lather just flies off. Lather I would have liked to have on my face. Definitely would enjoy a bowl lather much more than this. But learning experience, all that sort of stuff. Just because I do it poorly doesn't mean it's a bad technique in general, right? All right. Cross grain now for the second pass. I do feel the blade just a little bit. And so in a way, it's really pretty similar to the pre-war that I have put a good many shaves on in the last several months. So he was specifically interested in how maybe this shave might compare to the Timeless. And I do definitely believe that the Timeless 68 is a smoother shave than this. That's the mild Timeless. And which is really funny because that 68 Timeless shaves me really well, a nice efficient shave, but the comfort is so high. It's really this best of both worlds scenario. The Feather ASD2 with a feather blade in it was similar. It gave me a great shave, great cut, as well as great comfort. Well, with him, that is not the shave he gets. He gets cut up and all that irritation on his neck. And so, but for me, the ASD2 reminds me a lot of the Razor Rod Game Changer 68. 60. Is the Game Changer? Is that Game Changer 68 and then the Timeless is a 68 as well? Anyway, the mild Game Changer, the mild Timeless, I could be messing up a number or two in my head, but I think the Timeless is a 68. Anyway, the Game Changer, the mild one, 60 something, not the 84. 65, maybe that's what it is. For me, it didn't do all that great with several of my blades. And it only took a couple, like the Feather, it only took a couple of blades where it really shone. And that was comfortable, but I would so often end up with hairs not cut very well in certain areas of my neck area. Well, maybe if he's having problems with the Feather, then, or at least say, if he needs something more mild than I usually have, then maybe that might be a perfect razor for him. I think maybe that Game Changer 68. Yeah, they're both very smooth. The mild Game Changer, the mild head on the Timeless, very smooth. But the Timeless happens to be one that shaves me really well, while it's also smooth. The mild Game Changer doesn't really shave me well most of the time, even though it's smooth. So there's a big difference there. All right. So, another weakness for me of the brush, the face lather is, now here we are on the third pass, don't have a lot of soap. I do have a wet face. Let's just kind of do what we can here. Try to milk it. Now, what's the answer? Should I have loaded more soap so that maybe I would have more by the end? Because this is definitely inferior to my bowl lathering technique, where yesterday I had about 8 passes of lather. And there we go. I've got this thin layer that doesn't feel luxurious. It feels serviceable. Who knows if it's going to be slick enough or not. And that's what I have. So I will probably post this video online to some of my other shaving friends and get some of their wisdom about face lathering. I think I'm really pretty well taken care of with bowl lathering. I believe I've done that so many times and gotten really good results that I can kind of speak with authority on that, but I can definitely not make that claim for face lathering. Now, this is a very comfortable shave with this tech. It was not as smooth as the mild Game Changer or the mild Timeless. And so for that guy I've been talking to, I'm definitely going to recommend or confirm my recollection that those other two razors might be good ones he could look into. He said that he tried the Feather with a feather blade. Now for me, that's his perfect combination. I love it. But it didn't do well for him. Now, a couple things that could be. Pressure. He could be putting too much pressure on the razor, pressing it in too much. He could be coming at the wrong angles so that he is maybe, if you've got, your neck is kind of a concave surface, if you take the razor and you pull it across this way, you see you're in the concave shape, the center never touches anything and the outside touches it more than really it should. So that can give you cuts and irritation and things like that. It could also be the blade. I told him, hey, back off of the feather. If the feather bothers you so much, try an Astra Green. He said that one worked well for him in the Tech. He managed to get a pretty good shave from the Tech. So I'm trying to put some pieces together and help him out. So we'll see if we can find a good match for him with his needs. Everybody's face is different, and so you just have to approach it with some flexibility. All right, well, my face feels like I've had dry soap on it, and I don't get that feeling when I use a bowl, because the lather's already mixed up, it's already hydrated properly, it's not strong, and it's not going to irritate my face because it's already hydrated, and I put it on and it feels great, and I don't have this dry, itchy feeling like so often I've been having with face lathering. Well, here's a great thing. The Tech did really well for me. Very comfortable. I did have some blade feel in the first pass. It got smoother as more hair got removed from the face. And my troll spot right here cut really nicely. So despite the non-enjoyable lather, the razor and blade did really well. So for me, the Nacet's a good match for the Gillette Tech. And this is the 1955 Gillette Tech. So very cool, and I am going to set these pieces aside because I don't know if I'm going to use this razor tomorrow, so I'll dry it off and clean it up. All right, cleanup time, and man, yeah, I did enjoy the scent of the diamond a whole lot, like I always do, and I've got this mess to deal with. So I'll see if I can get some people to watch this video that can help me and critique my face lathering. Maybe it's as simple as just loading a lot more soap, in which case I'm loading a lot more soap than I would normally need for a bowl lather, but you know, soap feels fairly cheap. But maybe just loading a lot more. But I still see a problem with, I would add water and then start working my face, and then that would immediately cause the lather in my brush to be too drippy, and then I would just lose a good chunk of lather. Now I'm wondering if I might have better face results with a brush that has more space between the bristles, less density, less hair density, and so with more space between, maybe it'll hold more lather for a face lather. I'm curious about that. I'll try that sometime. Also, we were talking about the Carve Christopher Bradley razor. Now, this is 2020, and I've heard that, and he also told me that later on Chris is going to come out with another design, version 2. I've got the original Chris Bradley razor, and I really enjoy it. I don't know what changes are going to happen with the new design, but as far as the version 1, I believe this Tech kind of feels like a maybe a B with the Chris Bradley razor, but the Bradley holds it even more firmly, and so you're going to get more comfort with the same level of efficiency and nice cutting that you get with the Tech. The Carve's comfort is going to be a little higher because it keeps that blade more rigid. Excuse me. And so he might like the AA or the A, which are the more mild plates underneath the B, and so those may do him very well. So those are some of the other razors we're talking about. So during this shave, I didn't really enjoy the B5 as much as I do when I bowl lather with it, because it didn't have a good lather on it. And by the time I got to the second and third pass, it was so weak with lather, and when I did add some water, it would just fly off. The brush feels so much better when when I've mixed up a good batch of lather, and then that first pass, I'm not spending short amounts of time. Some people like to say that face lathering gives you more feel with the brush. So if you have these nice brushes, why don't you face lather so you can enjoy them more? But that first pass, I work pretty well into my skin. And then the second and third, I actually scrub a little bit more than I really should. So I get plenty of enjoyment. I get more enjoyment with bowl lathering because the lather that I do have on that brush is just perfectly hydrated most of the time. Just really nicely hydrated and wet and slick, and it goes on and it feels terrific from the start, and it continues that way from to the finish instead of being weak in the second and third passes. And of course, if there are any beyond that, it gets even weaker. So, but again, my skill. I may just need to increase my lather skills with face lathering. Just heard today, saw an email blast that Fine Accoutrements, I shaved with them last night with green vetiver. Enjoyed it, green scent. Aquamarine is a new one they're coming out with. And Ocean, by the Ocean, Aquatic Notes, I think. I can't remember what else they were saying. I'm going to use a little bit of Dunshire or Dunshire from Stirling, and this has the scent similar to Acqua di Gio, and that's a favorite scent of mine and my wife. And so that reminded me of the Aquamarine, because maybe some of those scent notes seem to kind of remind one about Acqua di Gio. And that would be really cool if they produced a scent similar to that. I love their base. I don't really have a lot of their aftershave splashes because they have alcohol in them, like heavy doses, that sort of thing. And menthol, I think that's the real kicker, is the menthol. I don't mind alcohol sometimes, but the menthol is a no-go for me. Yeah, mild scent, easygoing, not a strong scent. But I'm about to go to bed, so I don't want a strong scent. All right, very good. So I'm going to post some of the problems I had online and see if maybe I can get some help with becoming a better face latherer. And we'll see if I can learn from those who have gone before me. I definitely learned a lot from others regarding my bowl lathering, that's for sure. So I'm sure there's good wisdom out there for face lathering too. All right, guys. Well, hey, I hope there's something. If not, just a bunch of laughs watching me trying to face lather. But I hope there was something here for you. You take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.